Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Hey, baby, how are you doing?
Well, it's Monday again already, so I guess
February
I'm
1st.
all right.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
What happened to January? Didn't we just have New Year's Eve? It was like, 10, 9, 8. January's done. What? Didn't even finish the countdown.
It's crazy.
Hey, coming up later in the program, we've got a guest. It's actually I'm excited to talk to Clark Flatt. His son was Jason Flatt. They have a thing called the Jason Flatt Act in many states. And the Jason Foundation is named for his youngest son. Sadly, he lost his youngest son to suicide.
Oh,
and
wow.
Clark Flatt has said, I wish that I would have known the signs to look for. And he's doing everything he can to help other people know how to look for the right signs. Going to be visiting with him about the Jason Foundation coming up later in the program. Hey, if you ask the American people, they don't have too much good to say about the U.S. economy. According to a poll by the Quinnipiac University, most say they are worse off financially than they were 4 years ago, and they don't expect it to get better anytime soon. So that's when they did the survey. They said, how things going? They're like, not very good.
Yeah.
All right, our survey's done here. So there you go. You got that going for you. Quinnipiac University. I'm not sure where that is.
I have no idea.
I don't know. Coming up in a bit, we're going to find out what special things are happening on this Monday. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you would never ask. It is Monday, February the 1st. Today is Car Insurance Day.
Ew.
Yeah, I don't know why. Change your password day. I have an idea. Change it to 1235. See? You changed
Throw 'em
that one?
off.
Yeah, don't do that either. Decorating with Candy Day, G.I. Joe Day, Hula in the Kula Day. I like that. It is International Face and Body Art Day, Freedom Day, Robinson Crusoe Day, Serpent Day, and Spunky Old Broads Day.
Well, there you go.
So, you know any spunky old broads to celebrate with? That's what it says. This is an official day, so I'm not trying to be rude. I think that's really kind of funny. Get out and celebrate with them. Hula in the Kula Day. I wonder what that is.
I have no idea.
I want to check into that one. So celebrate however you'd like to celebrate. How many people do you think are celebrating Car Insurance Day?
Probably not
Probably
many.
not a bunch. Just
random Geico somewhere, probably.
All right. Coming up here in a bit, we're going to talk about eating art. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Sometimes you see the signs that says, don't touch the art, things like that. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe they should put one up that says, don't eat the art.
Okay.
Well, most of us just look at works of art. Steve Field's kid ate some.
Oh,
Steve Field
man.
took his 3 children between the ages of 7 and 12 to the Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery in England, where they ate a piece called No Thank. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Nothank. I think that's No Thank. Or maybe it's Nothink. I don't know. The exhibit featured work by 50 artists, and it was constructed in the form of an office, which included some mints, one on each desk. The piece was said to deal with social and cultural issues, and the mints added to the ambience of the room. Field said the children naturally assumed the mints had been left by other visitors. When they came along, they discovered the natural disaster, and he said that was a little too hard not to laugh. People at the museum were not laughing. They told him to get out of there. They said, skadoodle, you got to go. So they had edible candy,
I'm sorry.
mints.
That's not the kids' fault. You don't leave something like that sitting out and expect some kids to not pick them up. Kids eat everything.
At least glue them down. So when they got done with the exhibit, they just walked around and said, okay, we're going to put a mint on every desk. There you go. Ta-da. That's art.
Yeah,
like it is.
Whatever.
So
hoity-toity, uppity people who think they're better than everyone.
How do you really feel, Heidi? I mean, you need a filter, because I don't think you should say stuff like that.
Trust me, that was filtered.
That was filtered? Wow.
That was filtered.
Well, I am a fan of art. There are things that I love about art. I actually am a little bit of an artist. I don't do much these days, but I've done paintings and things before, so I understand art, and I love art. But here's the thing. Not everything is art. There are some things that people do, and they go, that's art. And you're like, no, it's not. It's a pile of junk you just push together.
There's all kinds of edible crap on our desk. Can you imagine how artistic this little space here is?
Oh, we'll call it workspace. Sell it to you for $1 bazillion. No, probably not. Anyway, kid ate some mints that apparently were art, and you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. There was more than vitamin C in that truckload of broccoli. Is there vitamin C in broccoli? Is that what's in there?
I assume there's vitamin C in broccoli.
There is. I like broccoli. It just says in the headline there was more than vitamin C. U.S. Custom agents report they found 1,200 pounds of cocaine stashed under the veggies at a border crossing in South Texas. Customs officers used X-ray scanners, and they noticed some odd shapes in the floor of the tractor-trailer coming from Mexico. Upon further investigation, 1,200 pounds of cocaine were stashed under the veggies. Now, when I was a kid, if there was something on my plate that I didn't want to eat, I would try to hide it under the veggies, but usually it was the veggies, so that's not good.
Yeah.
So where do you stash that? So these guys got caught. I can tell you, I don't think that was very smart of them. That's why we say it's your brain on drugs. But of all the places that people usually wouldn't check, it would be under the broccoli. You know, like,
I mean, you got to give them an A for effort.
Yeah. So there you go. And I guess now I know two things. I know these guys are dummies, and the other thing I know is there must be vitamin C in broccoli, according to this story. So.
And we know that they've got X-ray machines to check at the border, which is that I was very
cool.
Impressed by that. Yeah, I was like, holy cow.
Coming up, we're going to talk about freedom of speech. It's a bit fishy. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
When David Burke's wife was passed over for a teaching job in favor of the daughter of a school board member, he thought that was somewhat fishy.
Of course.
The Ohio man expressed how fishy he thought it was at the Stowe Monroe Falls school board member Bill Montebeck. He was sending him a slippery, smelly, dead trout in the mail. The police interpreted this as a threat. They charged him with 2 counts of disorderly conduct.
As a threat?
Sending him a fish. While Burke admits to sending the fish, he says he was just using his First Amendment right, freedom of expression. He explained it was a symbolic statement of what he thought he was thinking.
How do you threaten somebody with a fish?
And he says, I thought it was fishy how the teacher got the job, and I thought it stunk. So he thinks it stinks, and he sends a stinky fish through the mail, but it was because he mailed it to him that he got in trouble. So
I'm sorry, but I'm on his side.
I am too. And the thing is, here's what I'm saying. If this guy's wife is more qualified than the guy's daughter, the guy who got to pick chose his daughter, if this guy's wife is more qualified, that does stink. Now, maybe the daughter's more qualified. I don't know. If she is, then hey, it's not a big deal. Don't take it so personally. So,
and is there a rule anywhere that says you can't mail fish? I don't think so.
I doubt it. If there is, I've never heard about it. So I don't mail a lot of fish, but I don't know. Coming up, we've got your scoop of the day. That is on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. Heidi, do you know who Judge Judy is?
Yes.
Is she on the Supreme Court?
Absolutely not.
Well, take a listen to this. 1 in 10 recent college graduates believe that Judge Judy is on the Supreme Court.
No way.
Yeah. These are college graduates. They think Judge Judy is on the Supreme Court. She's on television, but she's not on the Supreme Court.
This is why our country is in the mess that it's in.
Yeah, we don't know anything.
That's ridiculous.
These guys got a little education here. A couple of carjackers picked the wrong mama to mess with last week. Surveillance footage from the Tom Thumb service station in Florida shows a mother pumping gas when an armed carjacker jumped into the driver's seat of her car. Another banged on the window with his gun. The mother, who had 2 children in the back seat, she flung into action. Mama Bear at her finest here. Pulled the masked man out of the vehicle, pushed him away from the car. The other carjacker can be seen running away. 3 suspects were arrested shortly thereafter. There were 2 male and 1 female suspects right after a short chase. So
nobody would stand a chance coming after one of my kids.
yeah, you start messing with the kids, all bets are off. Keep in mind, these were armed carjackers. She was a mama at a gas station. That's all it takes. Earlier this week, a team of scientists revealed the new evidence that a large planet may be orbiting the sun on the outskirts of the solar system. When we heard this, our son went ballistic, by the way.
Oh, my gosh, he was just livid.
We were driving, and there was like a 15-minute, he was freaking out about it. Anyway, he says, the story says, if such a world exists, it would be the 9th major planet in the solar system. According to the news website Mashable, while researchers have no direct evidence the object is there, there's some strange protuberation, whatever, in the deep Kuiper Belt, a group of icy bodies in Pluto's area of the space. Anyway, they seem to suggest there could be 1 to 10 times more massive than Earth, this planet is. And they say that it orbits the sun every 10,000 to 20,000 years. So these are scientists just guessing what's out there. Like, wow, we can't see anything. We don't know what's there, but we're guessing. I think it's a gigantic planet, 10 times bigger than Earth. And they're calling it Planet 9. But they're not counting Pluto. Count Pluto again and call it Planet 10. Then you could call it Planet X. See, that's like Roman numerals. Hey, there seems to be a new outbreak of an extremely dangerous nectarizing fasciitis virus, also known as flesh-eating disease. That's not good.
No, not
That's
good at all.
So you might want to use some like hand sanitizer or something. I'm not sure what kills that. Recent Time magazine poll says 80% of Americans surveyed say children are more spoiled today than they were 10 years ago. What do you think, Heidi?
I would agree.
Me too. In a survey of 6,000 women, it turns out most don't want to see our furry feet and trashy toes. Flip-flops? No, not unless you're going to the beach, the lake, or hanging out by the pool, or sitting on a boat. Sandals? Sorry, too much toe action. So when they asked women about men wearing flip-flops and sandals, they say, keep your shoes on, guys. Don't despair if you can't.
Sandals are fine. I mean, obviously, it depends on.
Well, you guys don't like my Crocs.
The man. Wait, that is Crocs. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I do not like you walking around in Crocs.
And I put them on with socks one day. I'm like, I got Crocs and
socks.
And
what's even worse is they're brown Crocs.
Hey, they're like business Crocs.
It's ridiculous. It's just embarrassing.
When I go somewhere in public, my daughter and my wife walk way away from me. Hey, don't despair if you can't fit in the recommended 30 days or 30 minutes of daily exercise. Growing evidence suggests even half that much is still good for you. We talked about this the other day.
We talked about this, yep. 15
But not
minutes.
everybody has the time or the willpower. Researchers say find a minimal amount of exercise that you can do, and you'll still reap the benefits. The study comes from Taiwan, and they say 15 minutes of moderate exercise a day can lead to a longer life. Now, let's get to our strange law. In Gurnee, Illinois, any woman weighing more than 200 pounds cannot wear shorts while riding a horse. What?
I think we read this one, too.
That is a bizarre law. I don't remember that. I think I would remember
bizarre.
That is very strange. Strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Our guest today is Clark Flatt. He is with the Jason Foundation. Clark, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, sir. I appreciate your call.
Well, we're really glad to have you on the program. Now, let's talk about the Jason Foundation, the origin of the Jason Foundation, and what you guys do.
Well, the Jason Foundation started officially on October of 1997, but it started as a result of a family tragedy. I lost my youngest son, Jason, who was age 16 on July the 16th of 1997 to suicide. Jason was your all-American kid, not your valedictorian. I stress that, your all-American. He was your solid BC student, good athlete, a lot of friends, very athletic, very active in his church, no drug or alcohol problems, just your good old average American 16-year-old. Until that afternoon that I came home to find that he had taken his life. And after losing him, I had some friends that stayed after me to try to find something good in Jason's death. And to be quite honest, you don't want to hear somebody tell you to find something good in your son or daughter's death. For those who have experienced such tragedy, no matter how you lose them, But luckily, I had friends stay after me to try to find something good. And after a while, I went on the internet and found, just typed in youth suicide, and it came up at that time in 1997, the third leading cause of death for young people 15 to 24.
Wow.
I have to say, that's when the Jason Foundation started, when I saw that stat, because as much as your listeners have done, just like many parents, I went to every PTO, PTA about drugs, alcohol, even a form of bullying back then. But no one had ever had a seminar or a training about youth suicide, how to recognize the warning signs, let alone what to do should you see those signs, despite it being the third most likely thing to take a young person's life back in 1997. So we started the Jason Foundation really just to help parents to be able to recognize warning signs and then, all importantly, know what to do after. But that was our beginning back in October of 97.
Well, first of all, I want to say I'm terribly sorry to hear about the loss of your son, but also I'm very proud of you for doing what you're doing to help make a difference for the other sons and daughters out there. What a great, wonderful thing that you guys are doing, and I know that you're making an impact all across the country. Now, there are Jason Foundation chapters set up. How many different states are you guys in right now?
Well, yeah, we've grown quite a bit from 97, but let me stress that there's been so many people that have helped us along the way. This is certainly not something I've done myself, but so many good people and organizations and other nonprofits that have helped us. But currently today we have a little over 100 affiliate offices, as we call them, across the country. They're physically located in 32 states, but we service all 50 states, either from one of our regional affiliate offices or from corporate. And our corporate office is in Hendersonville, Tennessee, just right outside of Nashville.
If somebody has a question about the Jason Foundation, they want to get some resources, where do they get that?
Well, first of all, yeah, our website has a lot of resources to it, and it's simply Jason Foundation, all one word, JasonFoundation.com. We are a nonprofit 501c3, but we did the .com because a study group very early on felt like it made it more accessible to young people, especially not to be a .org. But so JasonFoundation.com, you can find about our history, you can find out about our programs, a lot of the people that's working with us. A lot of our programs are downloadable just from our website. And one key thing, John, is that since 1997, if we contract to deliver services to a school, a church, a youth organization, or even a state, we don't charge for any of our programs. So we're not online selling something. So we wanted to make sure that money was never a deciding factor on whether somebody could receive the resources or not.
That is a really, really nice thing. And again, the website is jasonfoundation.com. Now, the education that you guys are doing, have you had examples where you've found cases where somebody maybe said, hey, because of this, we were able to have this result? Or I'm sure there are probably a bunch of those examples.
Yeah, we've been in existence now a little over 18 years. And so, we get a lot of those. Of course, there's still a lot of stigma still around, regrettably, around mental health issues. So not everybody who says, oh, wait, I didn't commit suicide or I didn't attempt, they don't really, a lot of times, will broadcast that to a lot of people. It's still something that's held close. But we do get individuals who have emailed and written to us or called us. We have a lot of teachers and coaches we deal with across the nation that will come forward and say, listen, something I learned in one of your in-service trainings. Help me ask the right question to a young man or a young lady, and we're getting them help.
That's absolutely wonderful. Clark, thank you again for chatting with us. Clark Flatt is with the Jason Foundation, and you can learn more about the Jason Flatt Act that's in several states, and they're pushing for others as well. And you can learn more about the foundation at jasonfoundation.com.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Sunday is the day of the week that the most ice cream is sold.
Oh.
So Sunday, or is it Sunday, spelled the other way?
Yeah, I get where you're going.
Did that work?
Mm-mm.
No. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
According to a study published in the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health, teenagers who eat dinner with their families have better mental health than those who don't.
I would agree with that as well.
I think so, too. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A Johns Hopkins study found that rubbing broccoli juice on your skin is much more effective way to prevent sunburn than any commercial sunscreen.
Broccoli juice?
Yes, so before you go out in the sun, rub yourself down with broccoli juice.
How do you juice a broccoli?
I don't know. You squeeze it really hard, I think. I'm not sure. Throw it in a blender? I have no idea. Then that'd be like broccoli paste.
Yeah, no thanks.
So you have to see. Maybe they have a broccoli juice sunscreen available this summer. We'll have to check and see if that comes out. That's from Johns Hopkins University. These have been your fun facts. Coming up, we're going to teach you how to survive a Monday, since today's a Monday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
Mondays are usually not anyone's favorite day.
No.
You know, people don't like Mondays.
I don't
In
like
fact,
Mondays.
they can actually be hazardous to your health. But can you take some stress out of the day and actually start the work week feeling good? You can, with a little help from famed psychologist Dr. Robert Butterworth. I just love the name. Mondays are so stressful, he says, they can be life-threatening. He says the highest proportion of workplace injuries are on Mondays. He goes on to say that Mondays are characterized by an increase in on-the-job heart attacks. Here are 10 great tips from Dr. Butterworth to get you sailing instead of slumping into work today. You ready for these?
Yes.
And if you're already half done with your day, I'm sorry. I'm just getting to the list. I should have got to this sooner, but don't sweat it. Number 1 is don't stay out late Sunday night. Well, this would have been good advice from us yesterday. Don't stay out late Sunday night.
Most people don't. I think most people realize
they say
I
if you
gotta
get
work.
plenty of rest, you'll be refreshed on Monday, and it'll be a good day.
Yeah.
Next, take a look at how you spend your weekend. If you're exhausted after a couple days off, maybe you need to put more leisure time in your weekend. Next on the list, exercise on weekends. Get a little exercise, because if you're laying around doing nothing, when you do have to go back to work to Monday, that's
Okay,
that's when
wait.
you're going to have
Those
struggles.
two just contradicted each other.
No.
Get more leisure time, but get less leisure time.
No, it didn't say that at all. It says get more leisure time, but then it says exercise. You still got to do something. Don't just lay on the sofa and do nothing. The next, avoid heavy, fatty foods on Sunday night.
Well, Sunday night is when most families make their big family meal.
Hey, I'm going to sit down and have a bucket of fried
Roast
something.
and potatoes and carrots
Try
and
to wrap
gravy.
up any projects on Friday if you can, so you don't have to worry about coming to work on Monday and, oh, man, I still got to finish that thing I
That's
didn't
nice.
do.
I like that.
Allow extra time to get ready Monday mornings. So they're saying wake up a little earlier on Monday mornings. Next, don't overschedule your Monday. Avoid having urgent deadlines on that day. Plan as few chores as possible for Monday nights. Line up a pleasant social activity for Monday. So maybe having lunch with a coworker, renting a video you want to see. And then the last thing is eat breakfast Monday morning. So these are 10 helpful tips from Dr. Butterworth. That's his real name. I just think that's really fun to say. Dr. Robert Butterworth.
There you go.
I wonder if he's related to the lady on the
Mrs.
bottle.
Butterworth?
Yeah. You think?
I don't know.
Anyway, there's some advice. Coming up, we're going to talk about something else. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Fun story here from Syracuse, New York. A native there, Bill Foodie, has never owned a mobile device. So imagine how surprised he was when he got a bill. 63-year-old Foodie got a bill for $6,500.
Whoa!
He says, I hardly use my regular phone. I don't even have a mobile phone. I was shocked when I got the bill. Foodie immediately called Cellular One to complain. He's still waiting to hear from the firm's fraud department. He's worried the mistake will affect his credit rating. So
Whoa.
he's like, I don't even have that. Coming up here in a bit, we've got another cell phone story, and I'm going to read the headline to you. This is from Waterloo, Iowa.
Okay.
Could a ghost actually live in a cell phone? Question mark. I haven't read the story yet because I like to read these things and be just as surprised as you when I read them.
Okay.
So that's the
we'll
headline.
Look forward to that.
I've been holding on to that one. That's coming up here in a bit. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
Coming to you from Waterloo, Iowa, we've got this fun little story here. It says, could a ghost actually live in a cell phone? All right. Here's why they're wondering. In Waterloo, Iowa, 911 operators say they've received 400 calls from the same cell phone, but nobody ever seems to be on the line. Officials cannot locate the phone, but they figured out that it is an old line not currently associated with any cell phone provider.
Oh, weird.
Such phones, once charged up, still can place 911 calls under the FCC rules set in 1994. The cell phones can't receive calls emergency workers have not been able to track the owner through the service records until the source of the calls is found or until they stop. Dispatchers still have to answer every call just in case somebody is actually on the other end of the line. So there's a phone somewhere that's dialing 911, even if they don't have service, as long as the phone is charged up. So it's being charged, it's being used. So I wonder if there's some kids pranking somebody, or if there's really somebody that's maybe been kidnapped and they're trying to get help. How crazy would it be? 400
if
calls.
There was somebody that was trying to get help, they would say something into the phone.
But maybe the phone is broken, so they can't. I don't know. I have no clue. I just think that's interesting. It's from Waterloo, Iowa. Their first thought was, there must be a ghost in the phone.
Yeah, I don't think it's a ghost. I think it's somebody screwing around.
You think that's the first thing you'd think of is, must be a ghost in the phone. No, come on. There's probably about 1,000 other things I would think of before that.
Or maybe the phone just is malfunctioning on its own if it's an older phone.
I don't know. Anyway, it's all going on in Waterloo, Iowa. Coming up here in a bit, we're going to talk about an interesting lawsuit. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1 plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Are you colorblind, or do you know anybody that's colorblind?
I don't.
Growing up...
You know what? I do know somebody. Our accountant is colorblind. I was just talking to him about that the other day.
Growing up, I had a friend that was colorblind, and we always thought it was funny because we'd mess with him about colors. And not that that's a bad thing, because if you're colorblind, you're colorblind. But Palm Beach County in Florida, a guy there got fired for being colorblind.
Wow.
And it's really an interesting thing here. The reason he was fired is he couldn't distinguish between the colors red and green. It's kind of important when you're installing traffic lights.
Yeah, okay, that's important.
This guy was installing traffic lights. He couldn't tell which one was red and which one was green. Imagine the potential disaster that it could have been caused. The county fired him from his job. Now he's suing. Cleveland Merritt claims in the federal lawsuit that the county violated his American with Disabilities Act. He seeks lost wages.
But if he can't do the job, he can't do the job.
Well, but here's the thing. There are ways that he could have done the job. He seeks lost wages dating back to his firing in 1997.
97.
Yeah, I don't know how old this story is. Hopefully this is an old story. Anyway, if they didn't fire him, people might have been killed going through intersections, so that's why they said they had to. Nonetheless, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission already has ruled that the county discriminated against Merritt. The county plans to ask a judge to dismiss the case. This is kind of a crazy case. Here's what they could have done. They could have very easily done this, because when they have those bulbs, why couldn't they have had somewhere on there a label that said what color it is? You could have it spelled out that this one's red, this one's green.
Because then you have to hire somebody to do that.
No, they wouldn't have to hire somebody. There'd just be other people in the office that, hey, we need to mark these because he can't tell this one from this one. And I'm not sure. I'm assuming that the bulbs would have different stock numbers. If he could look at the stock number and say, 457 is red and 553 is green or whatever, there's got to be a way they could have worked around this. To me, it sounds like kind of a ridiculous thing because, yeah, you don't want him putting the wrong colors in and having it so all the lights are always green. But I think there would have been a way rather than just firing the guy. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Or just move him to a different part of this assembly line.
Exactly.
Put him in the part where they boxed up the finished products.
Yeah, well, he was actually installing the lights. So that's where, again, they could have found another thing for him to do. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Coming up in a bit, we've got some good news, and I got such a touching story. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
I always try to wrap things up around here with some good news. And some days that's hard. Other days, like today, it's easy. I got a bunch of good stories, but I only get to read one, and I'm choosing this one. A World War II veteran will travel to Australia to reunite with his wartime girlfriend after more than 70 years apart.
How sweet.
According to Time magazine, 93-year-old Norwood Thomas of Virginia Beach will travel to Australia next month to reunite with his 88-year-old Joyce Morris. It was his girlfriend back in the day. The two recently spoke through Skype. If you don't know what Skype is, it's like a video conference thing. Anyway, during their 2-hour video reunion, the two recalled their time together when they met in England a few months before he was parachuted into Normandy with the 101st Airborne Division. After their story went public a couple of months ago, Over 300 people have made donations online to help these two rekindle their romance.
How sweet.
Air New Zealand has also made arrangements to send Thomas and his caretaker son, Stephen, to Australia free of charge.
Wow.
Thomas and Morris plan to spend Valentine's Day together. Isn't that a neat story?
That is such a neat story.
So they haven't seen each other in person in 70 years. He is now 93, so he would have been 23 at the time. She is 88, so she would have been 18 at the time. So
I'm hoping his wife is no longer with him.
Well, I'm assuming. I have no clue. I didn't watch this. There's a story. I'll throw a link on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. And I'll have to watch it before I throw the link on there. But I'll certainly find out then. But I think this is just such a neat story. And I'm assuming that neither one of them are currently married, or they probably wouldn't be doing this. This is a huge assumption on my part. There are people that do all kinds of weird things. But when I read this story, I thought this was just touching and just such a cool thing. So that is really cool. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to a Monday edition of the John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. If you love to shave, well, maybe you don't need their help. But if you hate shaving, because every time you do, your razor's dull, or you're not happy because you're spending a ton of money on razors, maybe it's time for you to find a razor that makes you smile. I've got one from Dollar Shave Club. I really like it. They have a service that's a very cool thing. They'll bring them right to you for as little as $3 a month. You can do the ones that I do. They're the best ones they send out for $9 a month. It's called the Executive Series, and it makes me feel like I'm a billionaire when I'm using my razors. Mm-hmm. It makes me feel good. So if you want to check them out, go to dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Have you heard about what's going on in Flint, Michigan?
I don't know. What's going on?
Lead-contaminated water.
Oh, yes, I have. That's a shame.
Flowing through the faucets. In Flint, Michigan, the city's nearly 100,000 residents are desperately in need of assistance. Members of the Detroit Lions decided to take the matter into their hands last week, and they donated 94,000 bottles of water. How cool is that?
That's cool.
The Lions' defensive end, Ziggy Anash, I'm not a sports guy, I probably said that wrong. He said, was said to be the one who motivated the teammates to take action. He grew up in Ghana, and he told DetroitLions.com that this is a cause that is deeply personal to him. He said, I come from Africa, and I know exactly what it means to not have clean water and to not have water at all. So Ziggy from Ghana said, hey, I'm going to help. Now, he's from a third world country, and they're helping. This, again, is in Flint, Michigan, U.S. of A. How in the world did we become a third world country? I mean, that's kind of what's happening
No,
there.
they just contaminate. They switched water source, and their new water source is contaminated with lead. So they just need to get that fixed.
Getting that stuff fixed in a big
They're
old
working
hurry.
on it,
That is
John.
crazy.
They're working on it. That's why it's in the news.
All right. Hey, speaking of things that... what were we speaking of? You said contaminated with what?
Lead.
Hey, speaking of lead. There are number 1 pencils, but why is it we only see number 2 pencils? Have you ever seen a number 1 pencil?
We're required to have number 2 pencils for school.
Well, in addition to number 2 pencils, there are also number 1 pencils, 2.5 pencils, number 3 pencils, and number 4 pencils. You can buy them all at finer stationery stores and now online, but some people believe that the number 2 pencil is so called because it is to be the second most common, but that's not the case. For as long as pencils have been available in different grades, the number 2 or its equivalent has always been the most popular. It's called number 2 because it's the second darkest of the 4 major grades, and it's marketed under this system. And there's a trade-off between the hardness and the darkness, and number 2 is the best compromise because number 1 is darker, but it's not as hard. So you want the right darkness and the right hardness, you need a number 2 pencil. Now you know. I'm sure you were
So
always
number
wondering.
1 is darker.
Yeah.
I would assume number 3 would be darker.
I don't know. I'm assuming 2. I have no clue. All I know is that was the compromise. That was the one in between. Hey, those on roadways in Tennessee have seen a lot of cars in the ditches lately, and they were stuck in parking spots since last Friday's snowstorm. A Middle Tennessee group has been trying to help out in a big way, and I don't know if this is typed correctly. I'm going to read it the way it's typed, but I think that it might be actually something else. Nashville television station did a story on this. The group is called Jeeps and Wrenches Rescue and Recovery. Now, I wonder if it's supposed to be Jeeps and Wenches. And the reason I say that, a winch is the thing that you put on the front of a Jeep to pull somebody out.
Okay.
So I wonder if it was supposed to be that. I don't know. Anyway, Jeeps and Wrenches Rescue and Recovery of Middle Tennessee, they've been driving around for like a week pulling all these cars out, the ones that are stuck, at no charge.
Oh, isn't that nice?
They say, hey, just let us know. We'll come out and get you. I got a Jeep. I want to use it. Come on.
That's nice. That could have been in your good news.
These are all stories that could have been in the good news. So was the water thing. The water was going to go in there because the guys from the Lions came out and said, hey, we're going to save the day. And I'm like, you guys rock. So even though I didn't have time during the show, they still got in there. Now let's move on to this. 32-year-old Jamie Bass, like many people in New York, took a cab home from work at the Union State Bank. We can imagine Jamie did what most people do. They stretch out, they tell the driver where they're going, open the paper, and let the driver do all the driving. Unfortunately, the police pulled over the taxi. They arrested Mr. Bass, and the cabbie got stiffed, which didn't make sense because Jamie had $800 in 20s and 50s on him because he robbed the Union State Bank.
Oh, my God.
He hailed a cab as a getaway vehicle. He still had the robbery note on him, and he can maybe frame it and keep it right next to his calendar as he counts down the days.
He robbed a bank for $800?
Yeah.
What a moron.
And the thing that sucks is the taxi driver didn't get anything. Taxi driver got pulled over. This guy, he's like, so what about me? Can I at least get paid for the ride? Maybe a little something for the effort? At least he didn't get arrested. That would have been really bad. Hey, a group of British burglars used a blowtorch to break into an ATM. Oh, we talked about that. Those are the guys that they got a little too close and burned up the money. I wonder why I still have that. How about this? At the Sundance Film Festival, people walked out of the Daniel Radcliffe movie where he plays a farting corpse. They got up and left. So
I can't imagine why.
He went from being Harry Potter to being a farting corpse.
Yeah, that is not a movie I would
Sundance Film Festival.
see.
Now, I've not seen this movie, but I have seen Joe Dirt 2, and I'm telling you, don't waste the 99 cents. I've never been more disappointed in a movie ever in my life. I'm serious. I watched this like a week ago. I rented it for $1. Movie Mondays rented my movie for $1, and it was terrible. And the reason it made me think of that is this is where Daniel Radcliffe plays a farting corpse. There was a scene where there were like 8 different people farting in Joe Dirt's face over and over and over. And this was like a 3-minute scene.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is just dumb. And I wish I could say that was the worst part of the movie, but there were parts even dumber than that. I'm watching this going, why did I rent this? Why am I still watching this? I didn't see the ending. So who knows? Maybe there was something at the very end that tied it all together. I just doubt it. An Australian family of 4.
left after, 5 minutes? I was like, this is going to suck.
I don't think you even gave it 5 minutes. An Australian family of 4 is going to increase more than twofold when Kim Tucci gives birth to quintuplets. That's 5 babies at once.
Holy cow.
She's from Perth. She has to eat 6,000 calories a day.
Holy cow.
The 26-year-old has been documenting her pregnancy on Facebook. Surprised by 5 is what you'd look for if you want to find it. Already over 130,000 followers. Why would people follow her because of that? Just because she's going to have 5 kids?
Who knows?
That's fascinating to me. Maybe you
should follow her?
No. That's not fascinating. The fascinating thing is why they would follow her because she's pregnant. I don't know.
All right.
This is such a great story. I think we talked about this. Military wife had a furnace that broke. A repairman stepped up
I read
and
this
fixed
online.
It. And she was saying, thank you so much for coming. It's freezing cold, and we're really glad that you got here. Let me know what it's going to cost. And he gave her a bill for $1.
Yep. And then he wouldn't even accept the $1.
Yeah. Paul Betlin of Betlin Heating and Cooling in Pennsylvania said it would usually be $150, but he said, I gave her a discount, the deployment discount. And he told the local TV station when they were saying, you are a hero. He said, I am not a hero here.
Her husband is a hero.
The deployed, they are the heroes. So
that's amazing.
That is
I love
amazing.
that. Absolutely love that.
I think that's awesome. So that's great. That's going to do it for your bonus break, brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more on their website. And while you're there, I have an idea. Sign up to buy some dang razors. They're very good razors. I was going to say they're free. They're not free. They're almost free. They're fantastic razors for as little as $3 a month. DollarShaveClub.com/radio.